Hello again everybody. Well, as you can see, I'm wearing the stupid red hat, which means I'm back in the garage. Well, I'm sure some of you will remember that just the other day I was messing with the Chevy 3600 truck. Now the Chevy truck that I'm working on was 1953, so 60 odd years old. So if you can imagine, a lot of the parts on it are pretty dirty and filthy, manky, gunky and horrible. So having taken off all these various parts, I was washing them down in a bucket of paraffin. And I think I got more on the bench, on the wall, down my waistcoat than I got on the on the parts I was trying to wash. So I thought, I'd like a parts washer. But one of the reasons why I haven't bought one before is because I haven't got a lot of space in this garage. I've got too much stuff. I've bought too many things and my garage is just full. But as I say, the splashing paraffin round wasn't very good. So I thought, I need to buy a paraffin washer. So I went to Machine Mart, which is kind of the equivalent of, I think you call it Grizzly or something like that in America. And is it Grizzly? Grizzly Machine Tools? No, that's a Make a Milling machine, isn't it? Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight is what I was looking for. Yeah, it's your equivalent of Harbor Freight for all the Americans that are watching me. Well, I know there's one American watching me anyway. So I bought one of these parts washers and I thought we could have a quick look at it. Well, I'm not a very big fan of Machine Mart or Harbor Freight. In my experience, the stuff that they sell is pretty cheap and nasty, and it's not really particularly good quality. But what it does have going for it is, number one, it's cheap, and number two, which is kind of more importantly, it's available on the high street. So if you get stuck doing a job on the car or DIY, you need to buy a specialist tool, you stand a chance of finding one of these Machine Mart shops and going to buy what you need. So I guess we can't fault them for that, can we? Now Machine Mart sell quite a few different sizes of these parts washers, and this is the smallest one they do, which is 18 litres. I think this will actually be big enough for what I need to do. Maybe not everything I need to do, but more importantly, it's small enough that when I'm not using it, I can put it out the way on a shelf somewhere. So it's only taking up space when I actually want to use it. And I think the other thing that will be useful is, rather than messing around with buckets of paraffin and decanting it out everywhere, once I've actually filled this with paraffin, it kind of stays in there. So hopefully that should make cleaning parts a bit easier and quicker, and maybe take some of the mess out of it going forward. So it comes with a fold down lid, and originally I think the lids on these parts washers filled two functions. One, it was just to stop you spilling it, but I think more importantly, what these used to contain in them was, back in the day, everybody used to use paraffin in them. In fact, I never called it a parts washer, I would call it a paraffin washer. So I've just noticed on the label here it says use non-flammable degreasing agents. So that really rules out paraffin, doesn't it? I don't know about you, but I have tried some of these non-flammable degreasing agents in the past. I think one of them's called something like Green or something like that, and I think they also make of Zeb products, and my experience of them hasn't been good. If you compare any of these things to using something like paraffin is a lot better. It just cuts through the oil better than all these water soluble things do. I mean, the idea is that they emulsify the grease and then it just comes off easily, but they don't work as well as paraffin. Now I'm sure that paraffin has its downsides. I think if you get it on your skin, it's probably not a great idea. It's probably cancerogenic. I think probably the biggest problems with it can burn, it's flammable. But unlike petrol, it isn't actually explosive. If you get a lit match and throw it in a bucket of paraffin, it will go out. Here's a little prop that's holding the lid of the parts washer open. You can see it hinges there, so that's open. If you want to hinge it down, you press that and it closes. But if you look at the way that this is manufactured, they could have actually manufactured this in one piece, but they haven't actually done that. There's actually a couple of joints here, and now I've had a close look at them, I can see that we've got a section of steel, then another section of steel there, but the two sections of steel, they're actually held together by some grey metal, and I'm guessing that's going to be some kind of like lead or solder or tin, something with a low melting point. So I suspect what's designed to happen is, if you do have a fire inside the parts washer, because you're probably smoking a fag over it and you manage to set it on fire, this will get hot, this prop will get very hot, and the solder will melt, and the prop will fall off, which will shut the lid. So I think that's quite clever, isn't it? But in theory, fire isn't going to be a problem for us because it says use only with non-flammable degreasing agents. Well, I've used some of these non-flammable degreasing agents in the past, and I have to say, in my experience, it leaves me wanting. I've used a few of them. I think one is called Zeb. I think the other one's called something like Green something, or forget what the name is. They're all rubbish. None of them are as good as paraffin is. So anything that you want to wash with paraffin, you just put that in there, and then what you have is you've got this nozzle here, and there's a pump underneath this tin lid, and it will pump your degreasing fluid out, and you can wash it, and then it will run away through the perforations in the bed here. So I have actually already put some fluid in this, but we'll take it off so you can have a look. So you can see inside now, and what we've actually got here is, well, it's basically nothing more exciting than an aquarium pump. And that aquarium pump has got the output pipe on it, and the output pipe is, well, it's one of those semi-flexible pipes that where you where you bend it to, it stays in position. And I've already put some degreasing fluid in here. It's about halfway full at the moment. I think it's got about, I don't know, I think I've put about 4 litres in it so far. So and it hasn't got enough in it at the moment. So what I want to do is put some more fluid in it and give it a try. And we've also got down here a mystery object which isn't part of the parts washer. It doesn't come with it. But what this is, it's just an old magnet which I've put inside a plastic bag. And the idea is that if we get any bits of metal, as no doubt we will, because I'm going to be washing down, dirty metal parts. You're going to have bits of swarfing and metal shavings. You don't really want that to get dragged out into the pump, and you don't really want to recirculate that metal swarf through the pump. So it's a good idea if you have got a parts washer, if you've got some old magnets, just throw them in the sump at the bottom. And what that will do is, if you've got any metallic debris in the stuff that you're washing, it will stick to the magnet. And every so often, if you keep it wrapped in a plastic bag, you just take the plastic bag off, throw it away, and that's all your bits of metal swarf gone. So again, I'm going to point out, use non-flammable degreasing agents, and if you actually read the instructions as well, which are quite comprehensive for such a simple device, it says in here, parts washer, do not use flammable degreasing agents. Well, unfortunately, they don't make paraffin that won't burn. Paraffin does burn, and I'm going to use paraffin in it. So I'm sure if anybody from Machine Mart or Clark are watching, they're going to say don't do this. I'm going to say don't do this as well. Probably not a great idea, but I also don't think it's a ridiculous one in my opinion. You pays your money, you takes your choice, but don't do as I do. I would have thought one of the main problems with using paraffin is, although there is an increased fire risk, it's probably what the paraffin will do to the seals and the impeller and this pump. But this is never going to be used unattended. If it does set on fire, we close the lid, and I think that the risk to this actually causing a fire is relatively low in my opinion. I think the bigger risk is whether or not the paraffin damages the aquarium pump. We'll have to see, won't we? Oh, bloody hell, that sounds stiff. So let's put some paraffin in here. Isn't that quite pleasing? Although as I watch it, it makes me really want to go and have a wee. There's actually quite a lot of flow of paraffin coming out of this thing, and I suspect if you're not careful, it'll probably end up going everywhere. But yeah, c'est la vie. So certainly there's nothing wrong with the power of the pump in here. It certainly seems powerful enough. And let's put the base plate back in. It does really seem quite powerful, this, doesn't it? You know, there's more than enough fluid being pumped through it. It seems like quite a powerful jet, maybe even a little bit too powerful. So I don't think I've really got much more to say about that. It's a parts washer. And again, just to reiterate, do not use with flammable solvents such as petrol, paraffin or thinners.